An upbeat day on the market. Earlier I spoke to Geoff Beeston from Lonsec. Well, Geoff Beeston, an overnight commodities recovery seems to have sparked quite a decent rally on the local share market.
That's right, Tiki. The risk trade was definitely back on overnight after the FOMC minutes showed that the Fed actually has an exit plan but no timetable for the exit of US stimulus. We saw the local market well bid this morning on above average institutional volume, with the local market closing up 60 points, which is a 6-day high.
Now let's go to the stocks. Industrial pallet supplier Brambles has managed to excite the market despite warning about higher costs. What did investors like there?
Well, I think that it was basically that they looked at reaffirming the guidance of between $740 and $780 million, but this does not include potential synergies from the IFCO acquisition last year in November. The other interesting thing from the report was that Brambles' headline sales were up 4%, and that's adjusted for currency. Now, this was broad-based increases in sales revenue across all regions. And given the headwinds of currency and increased input costs, investors applauded the result, with Brambles up nearly 4% today.
Now, what's your assessment of the Transfield Services deal to sell its business in the US?
Well, the good news, Tiki, out of Transfield was that they did reaffirm their single-digit earnings guidance. However, the sale of USM, which is a facilities management business in the US, did actually result in Transfield posting a $16 million loss, with a higher non-cash charge to retained earnings. Now, this is a poor result for that particular asset. However, the sale was made in order to reduce balance sheet gearing. Transfield actually underperformed the industrial index today, but was up about 1.34%.
And MAP Airports has held its annual general meeting today. Anything interesting for shareholders?
Absolutely. I think there was two key outtakes from the MAP AGM. Firstly was that they've reaffirmed their 21-cent distribution, which is to be paid out of majority operating free cash flow. So that was a good sign for investors. The other thing was that they had very solid traffic numbers year on year for April, which showed especially the European numbers up in the high 30%. But more interestingly, we saw an inflow of an increase of 8% of international passengers into Australia. And this is, I guess, a little counterintuitive when you consider the very strong local currency.
Geoff Beeston, thank you very much for joining Late Line Business.
Always a pleasure, Tiki.